Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast. Coming to you out of SideQuest Studios, this is The Simpsons Index, episode 134. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and joining me today in SideQuest Studios, here as always, except when he's not, BT Calloway.
Oh, hoi hoi.
And brand new guest, MJ.
I delight and amuse.
That you do. And thank you for joining us for The Simpsons Index. This is a podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there's a twist. Each episode must come from a different decade. Now, MJ, we like to ask our first-time guests, what is your Simpsons history? Where'd the show begin with you?
It started in the first season. I was hooked from then. I used to set my VCR to record Simpsons at 6 o'clock every freaking day. I'm 90% that I'm going to be buried with some of those tapes. The problem is, though, I seem to be kind of, I don't know, a bit of a New Vogue virgin because ever since they went strictly computer, pretty much haven't seen anything.
Yeah, so that's the other thing we like to ask. Where has the show ended with you?
Virtually, when I saw that they had gone for 20 years, I hadn't seen one for 5.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm seeing Homer and Marge being all romantic on the side of a bus, and I'm like, holy shit, that's freaking 20 years.
Yep.
Yeah. And still going.
And now it's 31.
Yes. Yes.
Flogging a dead horse much?
Oh, it's been flogged. You're just flogging horse pulp at this point.
Totally.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the season 31 opener, the episode where Homer is literally flogging a dead horse for just 20 minutes. Well, yes, thank you for coming tonight and letting me show you what has happened since you've been absent, where we just watched an episode from the HD era. This was season 24, episode 8, To Cur with Love. First released in December of 2012, it was directed by Stephen Dean Moore, written by Carol Anomany. In this episode, the family discovers that Homer's not a big fan of Santa's Little Helper, but Grandpa tells the story of why this might be when he reveals the story of Homer's dog Bongo that they had to give away after the dog bit Mr. Burns. Hey, what'd we think?
I mean, structurally, this one works pretty well. It's just a little lacking in the jokes and quite lacking in the heart, despite its, content. It feels like a first pass, but it's a solid, the framework is quite good. So I'm okay with that. It's just the other features.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Very solid writing, a good conceptual story. The thing that I take issue with is the backstory of Homer hating dogs.
Yeah.
It's totally out of left field. Makes no sense because he's the one that adopted Santa's Little Helper in the first place.
Yeah. As we'll be seeing next week when we review the pilot finally. More on that later. So let's hook into the questionnaire. BT, for better or worse, what's a moment that stands out to you?
You know what? I just really want to know, how old is Homer and Smithers? Because we've had this before. It's a thing that bothers me, as you know. We see Homer beating up Smithers when they're both in high school, and yet here Smithers is clearly in his early 20s. At least Homer is 6.
Yep.
How old? What is just... I know time doesn't make sense in Springfield, but at least people are usually the same age relative to what they're supposed to be. But I'm going to drop that for a minute and say my note is going to be the statue in the background of Smithers holding Mr. Burns' head, which is mirroring Perseus with the head of Medusa by a sculptor whose name I can't pronounce. Because I got to see that and feel very, very cultured and put my monocle in. So it'll be there until someone surprises me.
There we go. Nice cultural reference there.
Indeed.
And how about you, MJ? What's a moment from this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
It's got to be Mr. Teeny's predecessor. Mr. Burns up on stage with a full-size gorilla.
Yeah, I did not see that coming,
right.
and I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, it's a very elegant line as well. Next time I'm going to get a smaller
monkey, right? Backstory. Tick.
Yeah, and I guess that's what stands out to me from this episode as well. The backstory stuff was kind of cute and clever in points, but sometimes it was just unnecessary and laboured.
Just egregious, and that's how Herman lost his arm.
Yeah, and the one that's the sticking point and a big negative note for me is, the Wiggum and Lou thing where first he was an animal control officer and Lou was his ride-along in the Big Brother program. And
Lou's voice is the same despite he's a kid, and it's really just...
His head size. His head size is also the same, and his forearm size too.
We all know that Chief Wiggum was the security officer at the university.
That's true.
He's had a long career of not being good at security jobs.
And where was his acne? That's my question.
Well, maybe actually if Mona had left, so that would have happened, so his acne has been cleared up.
So that job working at Burns' factory had already happened,
Yep.
which Burns would have fired him for letting Mona out. Yeah.
Okay, those pieces fit. Homer Smithers' age still doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because Homer discovers Smithers Sr.'s body in the quarry.
Yep.
But I guess...
In that episode, I hate.
Yeah.
You don't like that episode?
No, the one where they kind of like stand by me and find the body. No,
What are you doing in my corpse shoot?
I mean it was here. It
Innocence
was
tube.
Yeah. No, I mean, even that one, like, I loved all the Burley stuff, especially when they throw the paper towels in the quarry. It's like, oh, that's so cool. But, yeah, I was, so disappointed by that episode. I didn't hate it as much as you did, though.
I hated it a lot.
But back to this episode, play count. Have you seen this one before? If so, how many times?
I have not.
That's a negative.
I remember seeing this once or twice before, maybe. So in the podcast as well, we like to talk about the wackiness. Was this a particularly cartoony episode of The Simpsons?
I'm going to go with no. I found this to be a little darker
Yeah.
than is normal, with the banner outside I think it was the Republican headquarters or whatever, saying, rape now bad.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
weird.
That was a weird little tack on at the end.
Yeah, don't know why they thought that joke was good, but is it worse that it's written in Comic Sans? No, it's just bad on the surface. Yeah, may as well peel this Band-Aid off. So, yeah, this little tacked-on thing at the post-credits, Mr. Burns explaining the fiscal cliff. It's kind of lost on us now because we're so many years removed from it. But, yeah, how'd we like this scene?
I just didn't know why it was there. Why is this happening, Elliot?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it ran short. That's
Yeah,
my
for
prediction.
real.
But it
The
didn't.
same reason that Ned Flanders got his own cartoon for one episode.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It didn't run short. We cut straight to episode. We didn't have any of the introduction.
Really?
Yeah.
So they made room for
They
it.
made room for this. That's how important this was.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't a great metaphor. It didn't really explain anything. Like, to cut to the billionaires being depressed after the election results. It's like,
Yeah, just a lot of surprisingly grim jokes real
Yeah,
quick.
more dark humor.
Yeah, which, I mean, I'm fine with.
Going
but-
together like Christmas holidays and suicide. I believe Abe was remarked during
that
an
one was
episode.
okay, but it was, the Billionaires Club and someone puts a gun to their head.
I know,
It
right?
pulls away just before you know there's a gunshot. You're like, I know that man's a billionaire, but still, his brains belong in his skull. I assume.
anyway.
With regards to the wackiness, I think they've kind of tried to throw a little in there.
Little bits and pieces. I was going to say Grandpa working at the smokestack factory
Yes, that was good.
was a joke I really liked, and really funny.
Yeah.
And also, I think it was Mr. Burns making reference dropping a horse on a church.
Yep,
Yeah.
that was my next note.
I suppose I can drop a horse on a church another time. And yeah, in that scene as well, where I felt like that joke helped improve because I didn't really think much of the, oh, you want me to stare in their dead eyes and not give them a friend to Choo Choo or whatever he said?
Yeah.
Rip.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't like the Grandpa then becoming the chew toy for Mr. Burns' hounds, so he'll stop looking for Bongo. But it's like, well, if he stops looking for him, you can go get him back. Like,
Yeah.
isn't that the deal? It's one or the other. You can either hide him or you can, make some kind of an arrangement so he doesn't kill him. I don't know. All I know is that Mr. Burns is well suave in this episode. He is a well-dressed man.
Oh, yeah. Fashion corner moments. Yeah. He's got that swept over comb over look and
Awful hair. And when we can see, actually, I like the way that they did just the outlines of the liver spots on his head.
yeah.
Yeah,
Starting
so
to
just
develop.
starting off.
Yeah, if you want to patch in Ellen from Shut Up and Take My Podcast through a fashion corner here, that'd be nice.
Fashion corner. Wink.
Shout out to other podcasts. Wow.
Well, yeah, speaking of the fashion corner wink as well,
I forgot the wink.
Mr. Burns decreeing that Grandpa must now wear slippers and the most hideous tie, bolo.
Bolo.
Yeah, that was unusual.
Yeah, I don't know, just unnecessary backstory.
I think they've tried to make it a bit of a trope.
Yeah.
Just the same way Bart's sitting on the couch with a checklist of who gets a backstory, who gets a backstory, who gets a backstory. It's like,
yeah.
they're trying to make it meta.
Yeah, like
maybe?
they're trying to be part of the joke and it doesn't quite work.
Doesn't
Like,
quite reach it.
Yeah. And some other cartoon wackiness, I like we get a reappearance of Blinky, or at least his evolved spawn.
I know, goddamn.
Enjoy that.
Not only has he got wings.
That's right.
Got an alien internal mouth. Like, holy crap.
Yeah. That one was so shocking that, I really actually enjoyed that.
Yeah, did actually
I'm
enjoy
curious
it.
where Blinky stops. Where does he just become the perfect being or something? Jeez.
Oh, he's already walked out of the water, clearly.
Yeah.
That's he evolved very quickly.
Totally.
Actually, remember that episode where who is it? That's amazing. That guy
Oh, yeah, that
visits Springfield and Blinky comes out of the water and he's like a kraken, like no, not a kraken, like
Cthulhu?
no,
Tentacly? What's he looking like?
the creature from the Black Lagoon.
The creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, does he have a name?
No, he's just the creature,
The creature
from
from
the
the
Black
Black Lagoon.
What a long, stupid name.
Lagoon. Yeah, Santa's little helper.
Yeah, I didn't like that they
It
pointed.
It is hard to then, have kids dramatically yelling that out. There was a better way to do that joke.
Yeah. And the other bit of wackiness just want to bring up before we move on is what do we guys think of the alternate energy cars that people were pitching towards Mr. Burns at the start?
I mean, I think we just needed a bit more to cement what was going on. It was meant to be just a new inventors thing, but for some reason Apu's like, hey, look at this hot dog stand. It's still turning. What? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I think what they had was like a whole bunch of side characters' names in a hat, and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, so it's going to be, oh, Apu has an alternative energy project. How can we make that work?
Somehow.
Yeah. And Professor Frank.
Yeah.
I always love the fact that I think it's one of the writers on the show is actually John Frank.
Yeah, that's right.
It's freaking delightful.
And he's terrible.
He's gotten terrible. He used to be great.
I just know there's a shit list that I never actually write down, but I know he's on it. So
Well, yeah, because he did write that. Professor Frink comes up with the test to judge people on.
Frink gets testy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. I remember the names of the episodes I want to hunt.
Yeah, so I enjoyed some of the Frink stuff. I thought they dragged out the whole sound operated car thing a bit
Yeah.
too long.
It was okay, but it was just, went just a bit too much, especially to be completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
In fact, 2 turns completely irrelevant. I think that's my other kind of issue with this story is we have the fuck you beginning, as we call it, where it's all about the energy concern. No, it crashes into
Yeah.
retirement homes.
Mhm.
Obviously, we have to have Grandpa around. And then Homer's playing like Farmville. It's like, okay, he's going to maybe rack up a huge debt in Farmville, and that's going to be the plot. Nope, nothing to do with that at all. It's like, oh.
It's like
okay.
filler. Oh, here's the plot.
Yeah, and that whole Farmville thing, it was just... I think we encountered it the other week when we did the escape room episode, which, was all of one scene. And it was the same here where, it is a new trendy thing to mention these sort of addictive tappy tap games. And I kind of wish they hinged more of the plot on it.
It felt like they took effort to get there, and when they got there, they didn't do anything with it. So I was like, okay, then why did we do that? There's an old saying, which is something to the effect of, I didn't have time to write you a short letter, so I wrote you a long one, where because you don't have time to edit yourself, you just put in everything, and that's kind of what this whole episode feels like to me, especially that bit where it's just, there was no time to get there faster, so we went the long way around.
Yeah. All right, and on the other side of the wacky... Oh, wait, before I move off from the wackiness, Otto's into slavery now.
I mean, he's into
Yeah.
the power it creates, I guess,
Whoa.
technically.
It's still pretty dark. It's like,
Yeah.
again, let's grab a whole bunch of side characters and jam them together.
Yeah, no, totally. And I don't know that Otto's that well read on history anyway. Well, maybe history of
Potentially not.
violence. Yeah.
But also to the point, why does he want a less powerful vehicle? Because that bus is moving very slowly. We've seen him before design buses. He's like, I want to jam the kids to school at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah,
That's
and when
my
he-
auto, apparently.
Yeah. And when
Stamps.
your Otto is Mark Maron.
Just my alternate voice is just Mark Maron.
But and when he's driving his bus, he doesn't want to listen to a single solitary drum going boom.
No.
He wants to, be listening to heavy metal and Frankenstein and Aqualung and the like. So, on the opposite end of the wackiness spectrum, we like to talk about the heart of this episode. Yeah, in a story revisiting Homer's past and his love of his dog, what did we think of the emotional core of this episode?
That's really my big problem as well, is that it just doesn't, it's not there. The pieces are there. They're not put together quite right, and the emotion kind of just floats over you instead of hitting you right in the heart guts.
That I get. I think for me, it would also have something to do with the soundtrack.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because the soundtrack was bang on for fucking Titanic or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's get the strings out because this is in the fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Homer and his dog, man. I just wasn't feeling it.
No.
Don't give a fuck.
Not at all.
And this should be like getting me right in the heart because I'm like that kind of sucker that cries at the
You
advertisements.
won't watch John Wick.
Yeah.
We've had that discussion.
We went to see Spider-Man the other week, and I think I cried just during the ad of that stupid movie, which I know would be bad, of the dog reincarnating and keeping coming back to the same owner.
A Dog's
Yeah.
Life.
Yeah. Oh, it's...
Yeah, will not watch.
Yeah, it looks terrible, but I'm just such a sucker for dogs. Like, and
That I get.
Like I said, the alternate title for that movie is just "Cry, you little bitch, cry, cry." Like clearly, that's what they're going for. Yeah.
So yeah, I really felt like I should have been feeling it more, but I think another thing that sort of gets in the way of me feeling something for this episode is that they keep cutting back and forth between now and Grandpa telling the story a bit too much. I kind of wish it was like one of those flashback episodes.
Yeah, a bit too much and without any real payoff to it. Like at least twice, maybe 3 times, their cutback joke is, Grandpa, this story you're telling actually makes sense. It's like, yeah, you did that already. Thanks.
But then Homer's story doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So it's clever, see?
Yeah. And again, just not quite landed right.
Everything made sense except the Santa part.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think, yeah, they had a nugget of a good idea, at least, of, yeah, the loyal dog that then bit the billionaire tyrant, and they had to get rid of the dog for the greater good.
Yeah, the
Well,
greater good.
just kind of, I was just a little bit sad, I guess. Not with like Homer losing his dog and stuff like that, but just the fact that Abe felt so bad about it.
Yeah.
And Homer just had nothing.
I think the biggest heart moment for me from Homer was when he's like, I tried to explain to Homer he had to give his dog away, but he was 6. I didn't think he'd understand. Then he starts bawling. Turns out he took the concept pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like, that was, first of all, a pretty good joke. And then that's the most heart I got out of that, was that moment of, yeah, him desperately clinging to the dog. But the rest of it, yeah, just kind of skated by.
Yeah, and I felt like it was a bit contrived and forced. I don't like using the word contrived because, of course, it's a story. It's got to be contrived. But, like, the whole sweatshirt angle and then, oh, here's this convenient postcard which demonstrates that the dog always loved you.
Yep, and that brings up my other question. How long has Itchy and Scratchy been on TV?
Literally my next question.
Yeah.
And it's been on since Homer was 6. And it was like at the peak of its popularity where it could have had kind of merchandising. So it's been on for 30-something years. What cartoon series has been on for more than 30 years, honestly?
And it wasn't, and I guess it wasn't backed by Krusty the Clown back then either, because he was doing smutty adult material in this period.
Was that period, or was that when he was like, do we have a, God damn it,
Fiscal cliff?
Fiscal cliff or something
Well, it
crisis?
depends what you mean by crisis.
Yeah, you know the bit. Do we have an employment crisis?
Yeah. No, this was Krusty again, back to Fashion Corner, wink.
Yep.
Krusty like had the big, like, long curly hair. So this is like when he's like had sideshow
That's
Ravi
right.
Shankar.
Shankar.
Groovy
Right,
man.
groovy man.
But ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Does this remind you of Simpsons from old?
Again, it's got the framework, and it's just the filling that didn't work. So it's Simpsons bread, but they forgot to put, mustard in there.
Agreed. And you guys tallied up 5 audible snuffles during the episode. That's what we got. We got 5.
Tallying your own. Okay, nice. There's a new metric. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, in the classic episodes, yeah, it'll be hard to tally that, but I think it's worthwhile keeping a track of that, because in some ones we go, like, did we laugh once? Was there a titter? Was there a snort?
Chortle, a snortle. But it's not breaking integrity. That's really kind of the important part. It's not, no character is betraying who they are. Homer's a bit too dramatic when he runs upstairs, and, Abe's a little too the opposite of what we've always seen from Abe.
Yeah.
But, nothing horrific.
Oh, no, I think what you were saying at the top of the podcast, yeah, it doesn't seem right that Homer's so apathetic towards Santa's little helper.
I do love their corner cupboard, though. I always wanted a cupboard that did that. Just on the design of the house. It's 742 Evergreen Terrace.
Yeah.
Freaking dope kitchen cupboards.
Yep.
No, absolutely. It's a nice way to store a lot of stuff in such a small corner space.
And a small dog.
Yeah, and a small dog.
This has been the cupboard corner. Cupboard corner. Fuck, I can't.
Corner cupboard corner?
Cupboard corner.
New tongue twister for the podcast. What was he drinking?
Cheese-flavored window cleaner.
Yeah. And like you said, they can make anything taste like cheese. Now I was like, he's right.
Especially, when you go to America, they've got, cheese in a can, cheese in an Oreo, fucking
Yep. Cheese-flavored cheese.
Yeah. My mum went
cheese-flavored postage stamps. Make it happen. Now to send another delicious package.
Ooh, delicious memo.
I don't know if I've told this on the podcast before, but yeah, one time when my mum went to Indonesia, she brought me back a packet of cheese-flavored Tim Tams.
Ooh.
Whoa.
It was fucking wild. And it even says only for sale in Southeast Asia, not for international consumption or whatever.
It's like some of the mental Kit Kat flavors they've got in Japan.
Yeah. Like
I would literally go there just for the Kit Kats.
Yep.
Yeah, when Danny, Claire, and Jordan brought us back, what was it, rock melon Kit Kats? They were fucking delicious.
They're pretty good.
Nice one.
But not cheese-flavored Tim Tams. It tasted literally like Cheezels and white chocolate.
Oh,
So we're having a family dinner. Mum gives them to me. It's like, oh, fun. And we all sort of have a taste. And it's like, yeah, gross. And we put like the half-eaten Tim Tams back in the packet. And my dogs,
Then the next day they'd grown back because they won't die.
the original, like the never-ending pack of Tim Tams.
Only like with a Twilight Zone-esque twist.
Yeah, it's a never-ending pack of Tim Tams, but they're only cheese flavored.
And the coleslaw has pineapple in it.
And yeah, the capper to that story is, yeah, my mum's two little dogs, little Chinese crested dogs, fucking annihilated the packet and then threw up.
Of course they did.
So that was
At least
fun.
they didn't die.
Yeah.
No. So yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
I mean, if it's on an airplane and I can't sleep,
I guess.
Yeah.
if there was
We
something
do-
in it for me other than the episode.
something to wet your whistle.
That's right. Yeah.
We do have the hangover test where if you're lying down and you're cozy and you have like Macca's sitting on your chest.
Am I going to turn it off?
Yeah, and the remote is like just out of reach. Are you going to bother switching? Or are you just going to be like, okay, fine, whatever.
I would cop that.
Yeah.
I would fall asleep.
Okay, pass this hangover
Yeah.
test.
Yeah, a hangover snoozy episode indeed. And maybe we're watching this episode in the context of a playlist. What playlist would you put this in? What other episodes of The Simpsons remind you of this one?
Long forgotten things that people once loved. So put this in with,
Teddy Bear Bobo?
that's the one. It's like be something, but it's stuck on bongo.
Bongo Bobo. Yeah, dogs playlist.
Yep.
So yeah,
Totally.
pair this with the pilot, which we'll be reviewing next week. More on that later.
Dropping horses on churches. That playlist.
Inconsistent backstories.
Yeah.
Yes.
How the fuck gold is Smithers?
Yeah, that's a good bunch of playlists. So now we like to ask, how could we modify this episode? BT, what would you like to change?
Just give the script a whole pass with a whole bunch of writers in a room, some kind of writer's room, perhaps.
Just give them some rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, and whatever they like. Coffee, I don't know what writers do these days. But just because, again, the structure is there. It just needs a little bit more work, a little bit more refinement, a few more jokes, and then land those heartbeats, especially with some kind of soundtrack. I kept expecting some kind of like Pixar tearjerker moment to just have this soundtrack moment, just like yeah, how's that, your emotions? But it just didn't happen, and I don't know why. And also at the beginning, for some reason, it's oddly quiet. Like they're a big gathering of people, and there's no sound to anything but except the vocals. Not vocals, the performance.
Mm.
It's weird. It's weird.
And how about you, MJ? What would you like to change about this episode?
Maybe further explore what happened at the Springfield retirement castle.
Yeah.
Being as how they now have a car poking out of their front window.
Yeah.
A
they
rocket car.
Are they living with it, or
Totally.
are they, do they have to win the local breakdance competition in order to get enough money to repair it? I don't know.
And as for what I'd like to change, yeah, I sort of said it before. I just cut down on the needless backstory jokes. Like, they only worked half the time, so coming back to your point, BT, if we're going to do another pass on this, cut half of them out. And maybe just exist in that time. Just do the full flashback thing and only sort of come back to the Simpson family in the ad breaks. It sort of felt like we were jumping way between, and, these jumps, they take time away from the episode. An episode which, yeah, they felt like it was filled to the gills enough to forego most of the intro stuff and forego a bunch of stuff so they could cram in this weird fucking fiscal cliff.
Yeah.
And cut that out too. BT, do you have any other notes?
The slogan for Frink's company is the good Glavin people.
Oh, yeah.
I got a weird half laugh out of when Homer's like, hey, that keyboard cat sure is great. And it's just like a guy
It's just a
playing the
dude.
keyboard well. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
play that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
like a jazz pianist or something, yeah.
Yeah. There's a Wilhelm scream, always fun to hear one of them. Bongo
Ah!
is a Matt Groening reference, is it not?
Oh,
From
yeah,
his
so,
character from Life in Hell.
yep, and also the company that published the Simpsons and Futurama comics and, yeah, all that. Yeah, Bongo Comics.
Bongo Comics, you're
Yep.
right.
I did like the title of Herman's autobiography, A Farewell to Arm. That's not bad.
There
it's
were
a
a
little
few-
obvious, but it's not bad.
There were a few biography jokes as well. Postcards from the Hedge was Groundskeeper Willie's.
And laughing on the inside.
Yeah,
Crying
I
on the
hit one.
inside,
That
sorry.
another dark
That was
joke.
heavy, man.
Yeah.
And just Burns' voice on the fiscal cliff bit was really just, again, it felt like a first pass. He felt like he was reading it for the first time and not performing any of it. It was odd. For Burns, who is unquestionably the best character,
Yeah.
fight me. Yeah, it was just strangely flat. And it's like, I maybe could have enjoyed this a bit more if it was a bit more animated, figuratively, not literally.
Harry Shearer is, and I don't want to, disparage the guy too much, but he is literally phoning it in these days.
Yeah, true.
Because he is actually based in London now, so he just does all of his performances over the telephone. And same with Hank Azaria, he's in New York most of the time now. And so I do sort of get that impression, like, that they sort of just used what they had.
Yeah, they did like a one and done, and they weren't like, okay, now can we give you a bit more emphasis? Like, there's no directing to him. It was just, oh, no, it's in the can. Later.
Yeah.
This international call is costing us too much.
Yeah, potentially. And how about you, MJ? Any other notes?
I did enjoy the fact that Snowball 2 had been missing for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Expressed with a single.
Well, you sort of get that vibe with
She just
cats.
does a thing, though.
Yeah.
She's pretty cool.
She's an independent cat.
Right?
Any other notes?
What have I got? Pink handkerchief?
Oh, yeah, because apparently Burns called Marco Rubio a pink handkerchief because he can't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's one of those things that almost sounds like an insult.
Totally.
Not quite.
Yeah. No, I did enjoy that particular gag.
Yeah.
It was as slightly as off the wall as you would come to expect.
All right, and it's time for my final notes.
Yeah, no, I've got like a thing, but no, sorry. Now it's time for his final notes. Elliot's final notes. You know, it was because you cued me, and I'm not an entertaining monkey. I don't do this on command. I do it when cued by like the natural. It's fine. We'll work it in post.
Come on, Paul Schaefer. I was just lettermaning you up for something. I don't know.
You're no Letterman.
No. I don't actually have that many more notes. I did kind of like the little montage with Homer and Bongo where, you know, they're each licking the food off each other's faces and the recurring fire alarm gag, which was fine.
Yeah,
I
but they
guess.
have like, what's the song here? It's just, oh, that's just me and my arrow. And like, this is the best song you had.
Yeah.
Like the most touching song about a dog is where the dog's a metaphor and it's an arrow. And you're like, no.
Yeah. And, you know, when there's a song by Gentle Giant from the album Octopus about a dog being man's best friend, and it's a wonderful song.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you just had a stroke, but never mind.
I didn't. Gentle Giant are a real band, I swear.
Sure they are, sweetie.
The Bug Zapper joke was a little weird.
Oh,
Yeah. Again, it's that instant payoff humor that usually doesn't work. Because Mr. Burns is suddenly attracted to sugar water.
Yeah. I
And-
guess because he has a beak.
Thank you.
I liked Smoker's Delight bus lines.
That was good.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
And yeah, my final note is the whole just hug him already thing just dragged
Yeah.
on long enough.
Again, as you've mentioned a few times, when they show us a picture of other characters getting bored and frustrated, that doesn't make us less
Less.
bored and
That's right.
frustrated.
Yeah. Wedding cakes can be any flavor. Snickers, fucking shut up. Oh, God, this is going to be hard. Let's rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was just, you give it participant. But for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold. But for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. Why do
You
I
did
always
this to yourself.
Uh,
I know where I'm going if you want to pass.
No, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and give it a little bronzy ones. Like, I'm not super proud of that ranking either. It's just, I think this episode done enough to make me go, it's okay. But maybe on another day I wouldn't feel as positive. I don't know. BT, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm going to give it participant. It's a hive participant, though. This isn't the participant that's just, it's just air and I'll forget it immediately. I mean, I'll still forget this one, but not for bad reasons, just because it doesn't quite make that effort to be remembered. Again, it's structurally fine. So much of this works, but it's just empty. And that's
Yeah.
a shame, because a lot of this could have been great. But yeah, that's a participant.
And MJ.
I'm going to go with the guy with the beard.
Yeah?
Give it a bronzy because this has been a pretty gentle kind of introduction to season 24.
Yeah.
I was expecting worse.
Yeah.
Putting it out there.
He goes easy on first timers.
Maybe not for the next episode.
Alright.
All right. Well, yep. Averaging out, that will equal a dull bronze. This will actually be the 4th episode from season 24 to be a dull bronze. It'll be joining a test before trying, an episode I barely remember. We reviewed that with Christian back in the dank, and I don't know, Bart's doing a test and not trying.
That was forever ago. That was, Dank was light years ago, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's what we called my old place in Newtown,
Aw.
where the podcast was born.
It was Dank.
Yeah.
We were drunk way more.
Yeah. Oh, the dank. Hardly Kirking, that's where Milhouse discovers that if he has a tie that's tight enough, he sounds like his dad. So they get him a big suit and strap paint cans to his feet, and they shave his head, and he's able to pose as Kirk.
Yeah.
Somehow that got a dull bronze, so maybe that had some redeeming qualities. And a favourite one to mention on the podcast, Dark Knight Court,
Hey.
where Mr. Burns assumes the superhero persona of Fruit Batman.
It's actually adorable.
That's the best part of the
Yeah,
episode.
that's the B plot, and that part's pretty good. It's the A plot that kind of sinks it. But
Yeah. Yeah, where Bart and Lisa are doing a schoolyard court thing. That sucks, but yeah, Mr. Burns pretending to be 60s Batman, fucking amazing.
yep,
Does he do the Batu-C by any chance?
I do not believe so, unfortunately. But
Batman used to dance.
yeah, and we know Mr. Burns can cut a rug. Like we've
Yeah.
seen him when he's seducing Marge's mum. He
Oh, that's right.
Oh, not even.
he's a
What's
sharp
his
motherfucker.
when he gets oh jeez, what's his fiance?
You
What's
know,
her freaking name?
I know, and the one that Snake's old girlfriend.
Yeah, Snake's old girlfriend,
Oh.
voiced by Elaine.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember her name, but yeah, I know what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Hunker Burns in Love, I believe. was
Yeah,
the
where he
episode.
starts shooting up like liquid Viagra or something.
No, made from the pockets of a pocket fox. Is that an animal? It used to be.
Oh, wonderful.
Way to remember stuff, damn.
Yeah. Oh, way to cite precedent. And before we move on, is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified?
Robert David Sullivan of the AV Club?
Do we have a nickname for him?
No. Robert the David Sullivan.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. He gave this episode a C. That's like
That's
in
low for the AV Club.
a C for them is like their participant probably edging on failure, maybe. He goes on to say, it's kind of a Bush League boy and his dog tail. Maybe it's because we've seen Homer get silly over Pinchy the lobster, Stampy the elephant, and Spider Pig over the years, but his relationship with Heroic Bongo isn't as poignant as Bart's affection for Santa's little helper.
Objection, he wanted to make Stampy into piano keys.
Oh, that's true.
Well,
He did come around and he appreciated that feisty feline.
To be fair, you know, a guy with a lot
feline
of
means
ivory...
cat.
Stampy's an elephant.
No, it's an elephant.
And a guy with a lot of ivory is less likely to hurt Stampy than a guy whose ivory supplies are low.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, it's time we move on to the Teens Era episode where we are reviewing Season 18's The Mook, the Chef, the Wife, and Her Homer. Any guesses what this episode is about?
I mean, I don't want to guess.
I want to say Chef Boyardee.
Ah.
Man,
well,
yeah, he did spend 2 weeks hiding outside his house. Maybe this is finally patching in that gap.
Maybe this is about that trip Barney and he took to Machu Picchu.
Well, we'll find out when we return after this. And we are back, and we just watched our Teens Era episode of The Simpsons. This was Season 18, Episode 1, The Mook, the Chef, the Wife, and Her Homer. First released in September of '06, it was directed by Michael McIntyre? I don't know. And written by Bill Odenkirk in this episode. Yeah, we meet Michael, who's a kid at Springfield Elementary, whose father is Fat Tony. And Lisa tries to get to know him and tries to steer him away from joining his father in the mobster business and instead pursue his passion of being a chef. What do we think?
This is one where I couldn't remember what it was like. When I realized which episode it was, I was like, okay, so then where do we go from here? But I ended up quite enjoying.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally enjoyed, especially in compared to the episode that we just watched.
Yeah, like, this is weird. I actually remembered not being a fan of this one, but, you know, the story's a little silly, but yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one.
I'm not quite sure what it is, whether it's a mixture of old and new animation styles, but like visually, this is a lot more comfortable for me to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's still in that, 4.3 aspect ratio.
Yep.
It's, they've just started doing the digital for a few years, so
That's right. I don't know what it is.
yeah. But
It just looks right.
Yeah, actually, one thing that I've noticed is that the HD era, the outlines are a little thinner. Back here, yeah, the outlines seem thick. These are just little things to pick up on. Anyway, let's hook into the questionnaire. We'll start with you, MJ. For better or worse, what's something that stands out to you?
Something that they just absolutely nailed for me is the kids on the bus
Yep.
and the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Old MacDonald had a fart.
Fart.
What was the other
Well,
one?
the farts on the
Absolutely
bus
bang
go
on.
round and round. Fart, fart, fart.
Yeah.
Absolutely bang on from fifth graders everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And usually don't answer this question this early, but yeah, in Simpsons playlist, yeah, children singing annoying songs playlist, like
Yeah, definitely.
like when Skinner's riding the bus, and one where Otto's listening to the kids' songs on tape and they're not actually singing it.
Oh, what's the name of that tape? Is it Crazy Songs for Bus Drivers or?
Yeah.
50 songs to annoy bus
That's right.
drivers or
Yeah,
something.
something like that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this opening, actually. And yeah, leading into what stands out to me from this episode is, the appearance of one of my favorite bands of all time, Metallica. And yeah, this was, I think, a fine enough cameo.
Yeah. That's
For
all it
about
is.
30 seconds. Yeah.
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 Passing cameo, but that's
That'll
all we got.
do.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just an interesting pull for them, like, especially like at this point, this is like when Metallica were doing a lot of promo for Sinanga and that album, and I'm really glad that they chose not to use a song from that album.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went with the classic Master of Puppets.
You think they talked about that? They were like, "Oh, we need you to drive away and play one of your songs." Oh, one from a new album?
No.
No.
Well, actually, in 06, this would have been a little bit after Sinanga and Some Kind of Monster came out, but yeah, they were using the logo from that era, but yeah, I'm glad that they used a classic Metallica song. Probably Master of Puppets being the quintessential song.
I actually got to laugh out loud in that scene. Hans driving a ute,
Yeah.
firstly, and
That's
the
a
fact
truck
that
to
he's
the American listeners.
sorry, what is it?
They call it a pickup truck.
A pickup truck. That's right. I used to sleep with Lars's grandmother.
Yeah, I like that. It's not date, it's sleep with. Like they had an arrangement.
That's freaking gold. And the fact that like I was waiting for them to come back at some random later point in the episode, but they didn't. Their bus had broke down and that was it.
Yeah,
We don't see him again.
just a little flash in the pan sort of appearance.
That's
yeah.
it.
I also like, this is like a pretty deep cut reference as well. Lars actually has pretty amazing recall when it comes to his fans. It's sort of,
Really?
yeah, a bit of a thing that like fans that have gone to meet and greets, he's like, oh yeah, you're such and such. How's your dog going?
Oh,
And so-
really?
Whoa.
yeah, he's actually got a surprisingly good memory for that sort of thing. So yeah, this is a deep cut mention. Oh, of
That's
course,
kinda
yeah,
cool,
you
yeah.
road double X, seat 64. Yeah.
Metallica rules.
Yeah, of course, he'd remember that one.
Yeah, yeah.
And a little bit of a story inconsistency, though. Like, I didn't like how, like, Kirk goes, oh, you saved me that night. I almost quit the band, and then told him basically to go fuck
I know.
himself as they were
Yeah.
leaving,
Well, you know, these metal bands, they're flippant. Yeah.
apparently. But yeah, anyway, just a quick Metallica history with you guys. MJ, are you a fan of the band at all, or?
Negative.
Nah?
Nope.
Not even being a metal fan? Not even the classic albums?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
I got lost. I floated up toward heaven, but got lost along the way. I don't know what exactly happened. I just never got into them.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, because they were like one of my entry points for metal. Like, of course, the newer stuff doesn't really do it for me. And,
Are they still producing?
Hardwired to Self-Destruct, when was that? That was 2 years
I
ago.
think longer than that.
Yeah.
Very past just went by.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it happened.
No, I think...
I think I actually purchased the Load album
yeah.
on cassette.
Where music belongs.
Right. Oh, how crushing is it when Otto, just in the
Yeah.
beginning of the episode, where Otto loses his Walkman.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
just see it unspooling. I know that feel, man. Someone get a pencil.
Pencils are just not enough.
Because even in 06, this would have been, way past the point of Walkman.
But it was always a Walkman on his hip. So
Yep. Yeah, listening to Aqualung and
Grand Funk
in this
Railroad
one.
in this one.
Yep, Grand Funk playlist.
I do like when he drops the Walkman. He says funk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
And Grand Funk Railroad being a favorite of mine because they're one of the hat trick bands that have the same band name, same song name from the same album name of
Yep.
Grand Funk Railroad.
Very nice. Triple
Nice.
strap.
Yep. Also joining Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath.
Ah, yes.
Yep. All right, that's been Music Corner. BT, for better or worse, what stands out to you from this episode?
First, I want to start with a for worse. My purple pen that has been with me from multiple episodes has finally died.
No.
So we will now ceremoniously throw it on the ground. Goodbye, pen. I loved you more than I should have.
That one was with you even in the old yellow notebook, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
man, I remember just there was one time when I was writing and a pen didn't work, and I picked up the next pen and it didn't work, and the next pen and it didn't work. Like, no, I need to write down my genius notes. And purple saved my life, and it's been with me ever since. And
Remember
Now
him
it
for the good
belongs-
times.
belongs
Yeah.
to the floor now.
Memory.
Yeah, just a moment. Just gonna take a moment. And we're back. But from the episode, it's one where no particular moment really stands out to me. Just a couple of quick jokes that I do kind of occasionally call back to in my head and chuckle. I like, it's agreed. We won't try to whack each other. Now let's indulge in over-exaggerated displays of affection. This guy over here. You over here. You color my world over here.
Colour
Just
my
getting
world.
slowly and slowly more romantic. It's it's a great bit. Over here.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
bit, and just the whole car crash with like baking soda crashes into them, and then vinegar crashes into them, and they're expecting they're doing like a Simpsons bit with like Pop Rocks and Coke where it
Yeah.
explodes
Yeah,
anyway, and
yeah.
then it's like, oh, this is not so bad.
This is not so
And then TNT.
And it was such that quick smash cut, like after the long drawn out, like the baking soda volcano thing rising. It's, not that bad.
Perfect timing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Brutally brilliant. And oh my God, speaking of those sort of moments, the fucking truck.
Eh,
Yeah.
Fell off a truck.
Yeah. I love a truck.
Yeah. So this is one time where I was just like, oh my God, Frankiac, hurry up and put season
Yeah.
18 on the site because I need that gif in my life.
It's one rare example where 3 bites the apple is better.
Oh, the apple, if you will.
you guys have seen that meme. Yeah.
Which one, sorry?
The shipping ships.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Look that shit up.
We will. Well, speaking of memes, there's kind of one here which is Bart and Homer both holding the weapons and getting progressively
Yes.
more extreme. I know it mostly is a D&D meme when they're like, picture of Michael, it's just the shopkeep just trying to make ends meet, and then a picture of Bart and Homer, it's like the players trying to get a discount. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
the shipping ship.
That is a thing of beauty, the shipping.
Shipping ships.
The fact you have that memorized is impressive.
Oh, wonderful. Play count. How many times before today have you seen this episode?
How many albums does Metallica have?
Oh, fuck.
I'm going to say that many, but I couldn't think of it fast enough because I only just thought of it.
I wonder if I'm going to be right. 13?
13?
Maybe?
I mean, I don't think it's that. I think it's like 8.
We're counting just albums.
Studio albums only.
Studio album, no live bullshit. Okay. 13, 8. You want to take a stab at this?
11.
11.
Right between, okay.
Just while that's happening, yeah, how many times do you think you've seen this episode?
0.
0. First time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this episode a couple of times. Again, I'm surprised because I remember not being a fan and sort of actively avoiding it because of that, even though this is the episode with Metallica in it.
And
Yeah.
trucks.
And truck. Okay, official tally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, MJ,
Hey.
Ding.
the non Metallica fan was closest.
Right.
You're closest without going over.
Did go over, but this
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
Price is Right rules.
Isn't it?
Life is Price is Right rules. So come on down.
Life is right.
Let's talk about some of the wacky things of this episode. Was this a particularly cartoony episode of The Simpsons?
I really did enjoy the moment
Yeah.
where Homer was banned from speaking with his hands. So he chose instead to speak with his ears. That was fucking
And his
cute.
dejected ears.
Springfield Elementary has World War II beans that, when opened, resemble Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. Get in
And
the bowl.
AAA batteries in the macaroni.
They do count as a vegetable.
Yeah, that was a great one.
So, just while we're here, this is actually the first episode where Lunch Lady Doris came back after they retired the character when her voice actor died in 1995. And the thing that I didn't know until I did my research for this episode, this incarnation of Lunch Lady Doris, they've actually credited as Lunch Lady Dora.
Ah, interesting. They were suggesting it was a new character.
Yeah.
Or they can't spell.
That either or. Yeah, so it's sort of a weird thing because they've done that before where they retired Lionel Hutz and Troy McClure and Phil Hartman
Yeah,
died,
yeah.
and recently, when Edna Krabappel died, they retired her, kind of. Yeah, so it always struck me as weird that they brought her back, and now even reading that they changed her name slightly also kind of weird. I don't know.
That is a little odd. Also, I did not even pick up on the fact that it was a different voice actor.
Yeah, well, because it's Tress MacNeille, and oh my god,
Oh, of course.
Tress MacNeille
Jeez.
is just one of my absolute
Right.
favorite all time.
She's a freaking god.
Yeah, from all her work doing Warner Brothers cartoons and Futurama especially.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Back to wackiness, though. I do
Oh,
like
yes.
the back and forth with Mo and Homer. It's just, Yo, in fact, only $50. My customers all schlubs. Homer, give me $50. I'm going to break your legs.
I only have 25.
The mob's onto me. Oh yeah, and MJ, yeah, only having 25, I swear. Bart also taking up the reins and going to rough up Krusty. He's his hero.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's the business.
Yeah, don't ever ask him about his business.
It does explain, though, why there's no McDonald's or Hungry
Yeah.
Jacks
That was a good
in
throwaway
Springfield.
line.
Yeah.
Especially because for so long, Simpsons had a toy deal with Burger King where they'd, include Simpsons toys in their whatever equivalent of a Happy Meal was. Smiley Meal, I think it is at Burger King.
Joy snack. No, that sounds weird.
Yeah. Well, for our American listeners, it's not even Burger King here. It's Hungry Jack's.
Hungry Tracks.
And it's not a Whopper, it's a Whipper.
You just...
A Whipper with chuz.
Yes. You saw a hole and you decided to jump into it. You enjoy your hole.
Sometimes you gotta take the shots, man.
Yeah, it's true.
Any other cartoony moments?
Oh, yeah, local man thinks wrestling is real, which is apparently a
Amazing.
story in the newspaper.
Hey, it's right up there with Old Man Yells at Cloud.
Exactly.
News must be so slow in Springfield, and yet how?
Yeah.
Things are constantly happening.
I was actually really fucking delighted to see Fat Tony as a carpool dad.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect to be delighted by that, but they wrote it so well.
Yeah, I do like when he's being pursued. He's like, Millhouse, can I borrow your 3-ring binder, please? Oh, which one? Garfield or Love Is? Garfield. He hates Mondays. We can all relate.
Yeah.
It's a side of Fat Tony we don't see.
And even I expected to hate the joke, but I ended up loving it. Now, who wants to sleep with the fishes? Because I have this Finding Nemo blanket. What?
Yeah, the good old
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of moments.
I was
Actually,
expecting a third one of those, but there was
Yeah.
only two.
yeah, 2 was good on that one, I reckon. And yeah, so second mention of a animated fish movie in this
totally.
episode.
Yeah. I learned everything from Shark Tale.
Yeah. Which I didn't know, and I've seen this movie, is apparently doing a kid's Godfather.
Yeah. They should just watch The Godfather. It's a great movie.
I just unrelated. I really wish they would stop doing Lion King remakes.
Mm-hmm.
Fucks, it's literally Hamlet with animals.
Yeah.
Do people not realize this?
Ah, man, Disney are just going to run out of their 90s movies very quickly with them all like
To
coming-
live actionize.
Yeah.
Do
No, you're
Macbeth
right.
with animals. Come on.
Oh, totally. I'd totally watch.
That would be dope. Oh crap, I'm writing in my head. It's fun. So many people die.
You know, actually, that's a rabbit hole that I went down, was various actors doing the Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow speech from that. And fucking Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, I want to see them like do a Shakespeare off. Cause
Yeah.
Totally.
fucking
Dueling
amazing.
banjos, Shakespeare style.
Yeah.
Freaking dope.
Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
Try to out Shakespeare one another. Yes.
All right, well, yeah, I think in a very silly episode, there's probably a lot more cartoony moments to go over, but yeah, let's talk about the heart. Was there any?
I mean, a little bit. Lisa believes in Michael and, wants to get him away from the life, but she turns out being just like Kay from Godfather 1. Shut out, quite literally, while he plays with cars.
Oh my god, that was so cute.
It was like it does go too long at the end, where the doors close, you hear this vroom, vroom sounds from coming inside. It's like,
And
little
Lisa
too
does look bored.
Yeah, just a little, second or two too long. But no, other than that, I suppose because I already knew where this episode was going, any kind of heart in terms of what was going to happen with Michael was a little bit lost. But you see the bind he's in.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that part of it. What I really enjoyed, what I actually thought put some heart into it, was learning that Fat Tony is a widower.
Yeah.
Yeah, surprisingly. And just
Yep.
one simple line that explains how he has a son, but we've never seen a wife.
Yep.
You're like, oh, wow. It went,
I lost
my
my
heart
Anna
moved.
Maria.
She was whacked by natural causes. Yeah.
Lay fresh flowers on her grave every week.
And it didn't end up being a sinister thing that we find out. It was, it felt
Yeah.
like genuine.
Yeah, genuine heart.
Yeah. But what I liked from Lisa is like the underestimating the seriousness of Michael's situation.
Yeah, totally.
Because Michael, like as a kid, you can tell he's got the bags under his eyes. This is a
He's stressed.
kid that lives with the fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fear that either his peers are going to find out who his father is or something. I forgot what my second point there was.
Or just his father just being whacked by non-natural
Yeah.
causes.
Yeah, from his competitors in waste management.
Yeah.
Sometimes the character of Lisa just is overwritten or underwritten. I think it's bang on in this episode, and I've written here so well written and so fucking annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
She's like, she lives in this idealized world where,
Yeah.
you know, it's just important what you think of yourself.
Yeah, has that
And
whole speech with
immediately
that tone.
he gets shot through the window by a fucking helicopter. By like an attack helicopter.
Yeah. So you know you haven't seen Godfather 3?
Yeah.
That wax scene is taken from Godfather 3.
Fuck off.
They shoot people through it with a helicopter. All the subtlety and violence you saw from the first two movies,
Gone.
helicopter attack.
Because, I mean, when I saw Godfathers 1 and 2, holy shit, changed my world. And everyone around me said, just don't with 3. I mean, that sounds like it's compelling in a horrible train wreck sort of a
Yeah,
way.
but you don't want to see that happen to the Legacy.
Yeah, okay.
I have it if you want to watch it, but you don't want to watch it.
No, I think I'd just sooner watch Godfather 2 again.
Or truck.
That's a Hot Wheels
The
setup.
truck. The truck in it.
Ultimately, though, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Were the characters themselves?
We don't spend terribly too much time with the Simpsons themselves, which is kind of interesting. Mostly just Lisa believing in someone, which is absolutely her, and Bart and Homer taking advantage of the situation, which is absolutely them.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Random appearance again of Snowball 2 as cannon fodder.
Loaded in the slingshot.
Loaded into
Yep.
the slingshot, yeah.
That was such a great escalation of weapons then. Oh, and Bart had the board with the bit of nail in it.
Yeah, yeah.
The one that'll make a board so big with a nail in it, it'll destroy them all.
We get a little bit more time with Otto than we usually get, and yeah. He's on drugs. I guess that's on character point.
Yeah, his little dragon on the console.
Yeah, I swear that's someone doing a really good Takei impression. Or
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Takei himself. Yes, you are on drugs. Now I have to go to a cum drop on Fufu Island. And yeah, it makes sense to me that Homer and Bart would just be very interested and gun ho to get into the business.
Yeah, totally.
You can't hear it on the podcast, but I'm talking with my
Yeah, doing
hand right now.
the Italian
He's using his
expression.
Italian
Yeah.
accent. Yeah.
I do it with my ears, but they're currently covered by headphones. But yes or no, would you watch this one again?
Yeah, sure.
I reckon I would, yeah.
Yeah, I might watch this one again, put it in a playlist. What playlist would this go in?
The best of Johnny Tight Lips.
Oh, yeah.
So he has that great line where he's like, I want to go drive the new hybrids. You are a hybrid of both a moron and an idiot. It's like, wow.
Whoa! Where did that come from? Whoa!
It's amazing.
Sassy Gangsters playlist.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, what I really feel that they could have done more with was Homer's fantasy of having a dirt nap.
Yeah.
I really expected more from that gag.
Yeah, he's just got his head shoved in the ground. It's like,
And his feet
Homer,
in the
the
ground.
house is on fire. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
That one was funny to me because that's not where I was expecting him to be
True.
lying. Like, I thought he'd just be like blanketed up in some dirt.
Yeah.
But that he was standing and like just ostriching his head like
Yeah.
like an ostrich with his head in the sand. Like, so yeah, weird Homer fantasy playlist. Kids of Springfield Elementary that we only see once and never again.
Because they got
totally.
whacked.
Oh yeah, is that explaining Allison and
Whacked.
I was just thinking about her the other day.
I think we see background Allison, and then occasionally she has a different voice. So,
Yeah.
Clone conspiracy. But
yeah, they don't bring Winona Ryder back anymore to voice Allison. She once could play an 8-year-old, but now she's playing a mother.
Yeah. Sunrise, sunset.
BT, what would you change about this episode?
Ooh, tough. Maybe drive a bit more of the heart to make Lisa slightly less obnoxious, but even then, you'd have to cut something. There's nothing here I really think needs to be removed to make space for anything else. Yeah, I don't have a surprising low number of notes for what I would change.
How about you, MJ? What would you like to change?
I was mildly confused about why they chose to include the scene where Otto is spanking Bart.
Yeah.
Because that's we're going back to ex-President George Bush episode.
Yes.
A little bit. But Otto needs to be suspended for the plot, I guess. Because that's why they start carpooling.
Yeah, I guess.
There's a quicker way to do that, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I honestly did not expect Bart to steal the bus.
Yeah.
That was one thing.
And drive
Like,
it competently.
I know,
as well.
right?
after Otto ripped out the gear shift.
He uses a microphone, that's right. Bit
Yeah.
of consistency here, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an auto and it's there for
Could
sure.
be.
Only there for when you need to tell people that you're in an American band.
Yeah.
Otto got an auto.
Hey.
And also, I found the gag that was undone and kind of unnecessarily hurtful, where Michael comes out with the souffles and
Yeah.
it's all delicious.
Yeah.
And Homer says to Bart, "Why can't you do anything?"
That
And I'm
was-
just like, that's fucking hurtful, man.
It didn't need to be there, and it
No.
wasn't funny.
You just see Bart looking dejected, and yeah, Homer, you're a fucking jerk sometimes.
Yeah, just so unnecessary, I agree. Yeah, God, what did I change? I mean, this is a fun enough ride. It's not going to, like, get super high ranks or
No,
anything.
it's the one where there's no major flaws holding it back, but I also don't have any real notes for it.
Yeah.
And yet I will not rank it terribly high.
It's not going to get an Emmy, but I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Simpsons have got a long history of getting undeserved Emmys. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy how many animation shows get passed up for whatever fucking troll The Simpsons are rolling out these days.
That is a massive shame.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think, they spend too much time on Otto in the start, especially when it is just a means to an end to get the carpool thing happening. I kind of liked Fat Tony as the carpool. Like, I wish there was a bit more of him doing that and being a responsible parent, and maybe even like that leading into the story a bit, that he's like having to attend PTA meetings and
Totally.
That does sound fun.
Freaking bake sale.
yeah,
I
like
have to go to the PTA meeting because I am snack dad this month.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
I know you watched 30 Rock recently.
Because that's kind of one of the twists that I like, that he's not appearing as threatening to his gut.
Because he's being a parent.
Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe a bit more of that, I suppose. And yeah, I don't know, cut down a little bit on Bart and Homer getting into the business, because that doesn't really feel like the
True.
point. It just feels like a diversion. But again, I kind of like some of the gags. So, yeah.
The gags were good, and I almost kind of expected a musical montage
Yeah.
of Homer and Bart collecting money.
They did have the music from The Sopranos, so...
Which segues into the guest stars of this episode. So, of course, Metallica as themselves, Joe Mantegna as Fat Tony, and also from The Sopranos, Joe Pantoliano and Michael Imperlione. God, I am sorry if I'm not
You
saying
have to
those
purse
right.
your fingers properly and say it with, like, emphasis. So what is
Joe
it?
Pantoliano
Pantaleone.
Pantaleone.
and Michael Imperlione.
Imperlione.
Yes.
That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah, so they're from The Sopranos. They're both real well-accomplished character actors. Joe Pantoliano was in Risky Business, Midnight Run, Teddy in Memento, and he was Cypher in The Matrix.
Hey, that guy.
Yeah.
He dies a lot.
Yeah, good character actor. Good at dying. Still alive. High
Right up there with Sean Bean.
Yep.
Yeah.
World's best dyer.
Bless him.
And so Michael Imperlione as well, he was the detective in the US version of Life on Mars, and he was also in Law and Order as Detective Nick Falco. So, yeah, he's had a great career as well playing those, tough, no-nonsense guys.
Yeah, I can't take that seriously because if he's Nick Falco, he has to punch someone and yell Falco punch while he does it.
Very good.
Yes.
Were there any musical moments that stood out to you guys?
Pastor of Muppets, Farts on the Bus, Old McFart, something by Grand Funk Railroad telling us they're an American band.
Yes. It's a true fact as well.
Oh yeah, and also I meant to mention this back in Wackiness as the anti-wackiness. Metallica don't take rides from strangers. Good Metallica. That's a message we can all get
Very
behind.
sensible in the dangerous modern world.
All right, we're here. BT, do you have any other notes?
All right, so Millhouse is all, the safety bar matches your eyes, Lisa. Now, I'm not great with color, but is the safety bar just gray? Are Lisa's eyes just gray? What the hell?
Possibly.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where the Simpsons aren't in high enough definition to tell their eye color.
Maybe Millpool is colorblind.
Yeah.
Could be. I thought I was the only one. And as we learned in this episode, just because a guy makes souffle doesn't mean he can't wreak a terrible vengeance. So keep that in mind next time you have souffle. And I am out.
All right, MJ, any other notes?
Just again, really delighted by Jimbo Dolphin Kearney playing cards with Michael right at the end.
Yes. Because in that moment, I was like, why is it the bullies and not like Legs and Louie? And, oh, no, there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
That's
play a
cute.
date.
Yeah.
And Homer topless in the mirror playing man, lady, man.
I forgot about that.
That will fucking stick with me forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very disturbing.
Yeah.
Again, Frankiac, get season 18 on the website. I need to make that GIF.
Or, alternatively, don't.
Because we got some Buffalo Bill vibes going
A
on
little
here.
bit. And
yeah.
That'll be gift in my
Little
head
bit,
forever.
yeah.
So.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck you.
Ah!
Oh, dear God. Why did I do that?
I don't, because you're a terrible person.
I sure am. And it's time for my final notes. music is songs about devils and far-off lands and smoke and its relationship to water. And I liked the little backstory as well that Otto and Kearney were in the 3rd grade together.
That was good.
I do like Kearney's reoccurring age.
Yeah.
And his son that only appears in one episode, I think.
Yep.
I sleep in a drawer.
He pops up in a few others. You know,
does he?
Yeah, when it's like,
Oh, yeah.
no, son, you let them finish the sandcastle, then you smash it.
Yeah. And apparently he has another younger baby son as well that terrorizes Maggie in that episode.
Not Baby Gerald.
No. Wow,
Jeez.
Maggie's got a lot of enemies.
Right?
Surprisingly. Well, she does shoot a lot of people.
She even whacks the mob at one point.
Yep.
Nice little play on the old, putting a coat down on the puddle is Willie lying on a pile of puke.
I do like, why did I come in on my day off? It's like, why did you?
I think that's kind of a redo though, and also a bit of a shout out to a previous episode where when they were doing the comedy show at Springfield Elementary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Willie's not funny unless he's mopping up your little
your puke, brats, puke.
That's the one.
Thank you. You've been great.
Oh, Willie. Yeah, put it in Willie Puke playlist. There's one thing I'd cut. The whole Mr. Largo bit was not worth it. And I was going to say as well, even in 06, this was dating Otto's Walkman. Walkman?
Walkman.
Walkman. And also Fat Tony was using a Palm Pilot.
I know.
Remember Palm Pilots?
No.
I had one.
Wow, how did it work out?
Mostly useless.
Just every single joke I've ever seen in any kind of sitcom, they're useless.
Yeah, just a precursor to smartphones that were just
freaking
It was
bad.
a necessary stepping stone.
yeah. I mean, half the problem is that they just weren't sleek either. Like, it was
Well, this thing will not operate without a stylus.
Yeah.
What is the first thing you do? I'm going to lose my stylus.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, how did they make those baby hot dogs? Do they start with big hot dogs and shrink them down, or do they do something different? And I thought it was a bit dark how Homer told Bart to go cut Flanders' Achilles tendon.
Man, if you don't want him walking, then that's what you do.
When he offered to pay the phone bill, I think it's good to keep him threatened and
I'll
not
just pay
cut. And if you promise their safety and, you won't whack them,
I did enjoy that gag. We can't promise the safety. They also got to exercise and eat right.
Yeah,
just walk the dog.
He's like a furry little fitness machine.
It's time to rank this thing. BT, it's your turn to go first.
I'm going to go with a solid bronze. I had a good time and not a great time. So maybe it's a high bronze. I could even cross into a silver, but I'm not that kind of person. So, bronze. It's a good time. You'll enjoy yourself. You'll have some laughs, kill some time passing on.
Your turn, MJ.
I'm going to go high bronze on this one, simply because the previous episode really lowered the bar. I
Yeah.
guess. No, thoroughly enjoyed. Had just the right amount of random stupidness and kind of a storyline that went all the way through.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm going to say 3 audible laughs and 5 giggles.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for keeping a tally on that one. Yeah, I'm actually going to go for a silver with this one. I'm surprising myself. It's an episode that in the spreadsheet that I've made to give me a guide on what episodes to pick, I marked down as a participant. And I can't believe, I'm that far away from that original ranking and giving it a silver. But
We have learned you can't really trust past Elliot.
yeah,
The
well,
guy has some issues.
What a jerk.
Now, future Elliot, that's a guy you can trust.
past Elliot is sometimes right. He's like a wild card almost.
He is the one
Ooh.
that put beers in your fridge.
Yeah, I really do love him for that. Not a big fan of present Elliot for taking rid of them because future Elliot will be mad at that guy for not leaving enough beers.
Oh, Elliot.
So yeah, I'm giving it a silver, and it's kind of what you were saying, MJ. The last episode kind of brought me down, and this one, it gave me a good enough time, even though the story's pretty silly. All right, well, that will average out into being a shiny bronze. It's actually our first episode from season 18 to be dubbed a shiny bronze. So it'll be joining other such episodes as seasons 4. So it's come to this, a Simpsons clip show.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, which that was a bronze for the benefit of the doubt. I'm surprised Danny gave it a silver.
Clip shows are tough like that.
Yeah. Also joining Natural Born Kisses when Marge and Homer get into doing it outdoors. 30 Minutes Over Tokyo, the Japan episode. Alone Again Natra Diddley when Maud dies. And some HD era ones. No Loan Again Naturally, similarly named to that other one where Flanders becomes the Simpsons landlord.
Isn't that No Loan Again, Natural Diddley?
Just No Loan Again Naturally.
Really?
Yes.
Should be Natural Diddley.
Yeah.
And in the Fat Tony playlist, The Real Housewives of Fat Tony, where Selma marries Fat Tony.
It's a weird
She's
one.
already Selma Bouvier to William Hutz Mature.
And now she can
It's
add
already long enough without Nahasa Pata Pita, whatever.
and D'Amico now, apparently.
I was trying to remember that because I wrote down Michael Corleone, I mean Tony.
Yep. Solid episodes that aren't awesome.
So
But-
okayness.
Yeah. Oh, and also Barthood, which we reviewed in the very first podcast, where
Wow.
it's like Bart's story told at different ages except 10. It's like an interesting concept episode. There's some weird moments like when he's smoking pot in with Wiggum.
What?
I do not remember that, but
Well, that was all the way back in episode 1.
and I was drunk.
We were so drunk. And now, before we move on, is that reputation justified?
You only get one theme song and you know it.
I know, but I wait for the day where I get 2.
Look, man, I've got one in the works. I just have to rehearse it. So, hold your horses.
I can't wait. Dan Iverson of IGN.
Another one we don't have a nickname for. All right. What do you do with Iverson? I mean,
It's not
a guy with a lot of Iverson is less likely at her stamping than a guy whose Iverson supplies are low.
I like that.
It's a long nickname.
He gave this a 7 out of 10.
All right. Well, that's strong.
He said that it's charming. He enjoyed the parody of The Godfather, Pantaleano, and Imperialis. Oh my God,
Again,
I'm
we tell you,
sorry.
purse your fingers and give it all the emphasis.
Pantaleano and Imperialis.
Oh, look at that. You did it perfectly.
Perfecto. Although the episode was a bit too random and missed the emotional impact that it should have had.
Yeah. Okay.
Fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, definitely.
It's still,
justified.
7 out of 10, but all right. Who's he writing for?
IGN.
Oh, okay, well, there
That explains it. All right. Well, usually it's a harder slog for the first 2 episodes to earn the classic, but MJ, you've earned the classic episode where now we're going to season 4's Lisa's First Word. Just going off title alone, do you think you know which episode this is?
I think I do.
All right, let's hook in. We'll be back. And we are back, and we just watched our classic and final episode of the evening. This was Season 4, Episode 10, Lisa's First Word. First released in December of 1992. This was directed by Mark Kirkland, written by Jeff Martin. In this episode, this one, it's Lisa's first word, and incidentally, it's also Bart and Maggie's first words. What do we think?
Tell it, Mom. Come on.
It's great.
My goodness.
There's so much jammed into this episode.
The amount of there's so many moving parts.
There's a lot of episode in this episode.
But there really is,
Yeah.
So many gags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Story as well, without
Yeah.
feeling rushed. That was what really surprised me. It's like, surely this has been going on for half an hour. And like, no, we're about halfway.
That was the other amazing thing, because this was technically a short episode because,
Yeah, they did the long intro, the full
The
Simpsons
full
circus.
Simpsons circus couch gag.
Yeah.
yeah, which I used to get so excited for that as a kid. Now the long couch gags kind of annoy me, but this does bring me back to that. sort of-
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this couch gag. It reminds me of elephants. But yeah, so they had the full extended couch gag, and I remembered reading in my research that they included the girls just want to have fun extended bit because they were running short. They needed to pad it out. But
It seems so weird because it feels like just a full episode.
yeah. And of course, I like to sort of pick episodes to contrast. And, the first episode we picked doing a flashback one, this is very much in that style as well. And yeah, as a point of comparison, I don't know about you guys, I thought they did that jumping back and forth in time thing really eloquently.
Well, I'd have to check, but I feel like every time we cut back forward in time, it's at the end of an ad break.
Yeah.
So you'd come back to The Simpsons proper before you go back into flashback. And I don't think they did that in the first one.
I
Yeah.
think you
I
could be
think,
right there.
and I wasn't paying that much attention.
Mm.
But in theory, I'm right.
No, it does make perfect sense because it's very it's episodic.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds you of the framing device before you go back in. So-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It was one of those weird episodes where I was having a hard time paying attention because of all the note taking.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my God, my hand was on fire towards the end.
Just-
All right, we'll start with you this time, BT. For better or worse, what something stands out to you?
All right, so
Pick
there's
one
a
thing.
bit where, one bit, where Marge is reading a story to Bart, and there's a bit where she's trying to wrap it up. She's like, and they lived happily ever after. And then what happened? They had 30 sons and 30 daughters, and she smiles on 30 daughters. And I always wondered if that was an intentional leaning. She's like, imagine having a daughter and not having to go through this with a son. I always thought it was intentional and a very little sneaky little bit they put in there. Little detail I always liked. But other than that, I'm going to go with a great little Homer grandpa moment with, first of all, I've completely forgotten Abe's entire speech where Homer's like, Dad, I need your advice. Oh, why'd you come to me? I used to get by on my looks. Now look at them. Oh, man, that bit's great and yet tragic and yet hilarious.
Yeah.
And just ends with that great little, Dad, you've given me life and now you give me a place to live. I'd be honored if you came with this. Thank you, son. And they hug and there's music. It's like, so how long before it turfed to Grandpa to the old folks home? About 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
And even Marge is laughing at it. No.
And also, all it took was 15 fucking grand to buy that house.
I know.
In 1983 money. Or 84 by this point.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I
seems...
like to think that's 50% of a deposit.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, because that is a huge house.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How about you, MJ? What's something that stands out to you from this episode?
Just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The spout medley. The fact that he's done this performance so many times for Aunt Patty and Selma.
That's a really clever
It has a
connection
name.
as well.
The freaking
Yeah.
spout medley.
Oh, yeah.
The clothesline gag.
Yes.
Oh, he's got to tire himself out soon.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy making the perfect loop of that gift.
Right. And the houseboat gag. With what the seaman, what's his name?
House when you can buy a houseboat.
Yeah.
And again, I got that confused. I expected him to come up fighting with Squiddy.
Yeah. I got nothing against you. I just
I
heard
just
there
felt
was
there was gold in your belly. Yeah.
But I do like when he's in the shark's mouth, he's like, check the deck. It's got real shag carpeting. As opposed to fake shag carpeting.
But
And also shag carpeting on a freaking houseboat.
I know. Every part of that is fun.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking wonderful. Oh, man. And what's going to stand out to me? Actually, I'm going to say because in doing my research for this episode, I found that, yeah, the writer actually did a bit of research and, what was happening in 1983 and 4.
What was happening?
Miss Pac-Man took a blow for women's rights, and Joe Piscopo told us how to laugh. I didn't get that reference.
No. But there was Lincoln Saving and Loan, which I did quickly Google, which goes defunct in 89.
Oh, is that right?
So that's a joke too, because that would have been pretty fresh off 3 years later.
Yep. And the finale of MASH as well.
Goodbye, farewell, and amen. Still one of the greatest finals ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Gets me right in the heart feels.
But also, yeah, the real world thing of the Soviet Union boycotting the Olympics and America winning a lot
So
of
good.
events.
U.S. unopposed in most events.
Yep.
You personally stand to lose $44 million. He just cops it.
Yeah. And I didn't know for the longest time this was actually a McDonald's promotion that, lost them probably
Right.
in excess of $44 million. Because they did a similar thing. They picked events that they expected the US, that they historically lost, and they didn't.
And the USSR backed out, and
Yeah, the USSR, who are consistently up there in the leaderboards on Olympic events as well. Like,
USSR.
Yeah.
I heard you guys broke up. Yes, that's what we wanted you to think.
yeah, just all the great moments that came from that. Homer I think he gets fatter in the episode as well.
quite
I
possibly.
think you could be
Makes
right,
sense.
yeah.
He ate a lot of burgers.
A lot of burgers.
And even just Marge looking over at him at one point, just go, really? And then,
Yeah, because that's the moment where, they have Drederick Tatum, also how old is he?
yeah.
When it's, he's doing the little kind of slow motion victory dance and just cuts to Homer doing the mirror image.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like he's meant to be the young upstart in the Lisa versus the Eighth Commandment.
Stealing cable.
Yeah.
Stealing cable. But he's meant to be the young upstart, but he's an Olympic gold medalist.
Oh, yeah.
So your timeline, Simpson.
I personally plan to make orphans of its children.
Yeah, the Drederick Tatum playlist.
Totally.
But yeah, all the moments as well that the Olympics just provided.
Krusty Burger was the official meat-flavored sandwich. I swear that went over my head every other viewing.
I almost swallowed some of the juices.
I'm going to be tasting that for weeks.
But yeah, and I think we're all just cacking ourselves in the lead up to the Korean gymnast.
Which is such a weird, unconnected thing, but so funny.
It's so perfect.
Does a perfect landing on what was later revealed to be a broken leg.
There's
There's a gif, just...
But that's the problem. The GIF doesn't have the sound
I
as
know.
well.
No,
Yeah.
people will be able to hear it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
A loud GIF, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, that crunch was perfect in the reaction
So bang on.
as he's standing there. Just poor dude.
Stuck the landing, though.
That's right.
Yeah. So play count. How many times do you think you've seen this before tonight?
Oh, over a dozen.
Yeah.
Yes. What's the number above all of them? I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. I maybe in the triple digits.
I personally
'cause-
stand to have seen this 44 million times.
yeah.
Well, yeah, it's one of those ones that even the specific cadences of every line I can remember. And you were saying that you actually hadn't seen it for a long time and yet could still
Yeah.
pre-quote as we went. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is stitched into the DNA now.
It really is.
So baked in. So was this a particularly wacky episode of The Simpsons?
Not really.
I'm going to say not as far as off the wall stuff goes.
Yeah.
I would like to pitch gratitude for the classic Itchy and Scratchy episode.
Yep. Speaking of cartoony
Yeah.
moments, the 100-yard gash.
Yeah.
I will say I did love, and I never noticed this one before, they go to Stinky Fish Realty and their slogan is, with a name that bad, we have to be good.
Yeah.
And just quickly jumping back to Itchy and Scratchy, yeah, that his skeleton was on the Wheaties box, which just lovely little
So
touch.
perfect.
Yeah, he went on to live a full rich life just being a
That's a
skeleton.
skeleton.
Well, yeah, the real estate, going through the various houses, that was a little bit of cartoony way.
Yeah, true. Although people do leave their houses to their pets, so
Yeah.
I wish we lived in the kitty house.
Technically, you'd be their tenants. You know, they say you get really used to the smell of, what was it?
Rendered hog fat.
yeah.
And just the extra bit
Yeah.
of Homer
Yeah.
at the factory.
Yeah,
You smell something?
So yeah, it's not like an off the walls episode, but they are taking advantage of the cartoon medium, like in the classic, but having the fantasy of all the things that he's just
Multiple
heard.
uses for baby. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love that. And then his disappointment when he can't do any of them.
Yeah.
It's a great little moment of contrast.
yeah. His idea of the perfect little sibling.
But even then, just the sound when he's resting that board against it to do the jump over it, it's such a good set of tonk.
I like the sound of after he mopped up the milk.
Yeah.
Splat. It's this wet splat
Yeah.
of like a diaper that's potentially
That is-
already full and has just been used to mop up milk.
Oh, yeah. That's some great Foley work, early Simpsons guys.
Yeah, between the Korean guy's smashed knee and and the baby getting tonked on the head and squished. Yeah, wonderful. But also, Bart's perception in this episode is, a little toddler. I mean, the fucking clown bed, right?
Oh, my God. I wasn't sure where I was going to land this episode until that moment. I'm like, well, there we go.
Can't sleep.
I just want to put it out there that that's possibly the best thing Homer has ever made.
Oh, yeah. Like it didn't collapse.
It's amazing.
It's
Also-
horrifying, but it's detailed.
Yeah.
I'm also pretty sure there's a bit of reused footage from when he makes the Wonder Bat in there. Like, just a little
Yeah,
bit.
where he's having the nails over and then hitting them with the blowtorch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
did-
think you
but-
could be right there.
But yeah, on the clown bed as well, this was actually something that the Simpsons writers pulled from real life, where producer Mike Reese, this actually happened to him as a kid. His dad
God.
built him a clown bed that he was horrified to sleep in.
Wow.
The whole thing, Can't Sleep, Clown Will Eat Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which Alice Cooper used as an inspiration to write a song for in one of his albums from the aughts.
Wow. There we go.
Yeah.
Also, another music connection is the clown says, if you should die before you wake, which is a part of prayer, pre-sleep prayer for weird Christians. But that also is a part of Enter Sandman by Metallica, who
Oh,
we saw
there we
last
go.
episode.
Ah.
If I die before I wake. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, why would you say that to your kids before? It's weird.
Christians say a lot of weird things to
I
their
know,
kids.
But, like, that one's creepy.
So yeah, all the angles and stuff that they used with the clown as well, and
Yeah.
like him being animated and coming to
The
life.
shadows and, man, it's creepy as hell.
Yeah. I want to go home.
No,
No,
I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't.
So on that as well, Bart having the cliche of the hearing the things that people have said in his mind swirling around.
Hello, Joe.
Iron helps us play. From now on, the baby sleeps in the crib.
Just, I've got an inconsistency here, though.
Oh, yeah?
I think it's time for me to voice.
Oh, yeah.
Where they are playing a different board game, and Daddy says dice
It's
are
so
wicked.
Oh.
Yeah,
We
no.
just move one square at a time. It's less fun that way.
Yeah, I thought about that. Maybe he grew to believe dice were wicked. Is the
Maybe.
best I can give them there. Well, I mean, we do have this segment called Jordan's Anal Corner because we have a friend who's called Jordan who's rather anally retentive. And so we have his theme music, Jordan Taylor Connor. So as long as we're here, I would like to bring up mine, which is Krusty is illiterate, but in this he reads the facts from that says the USSR have pulled out of the Olympics.
Oh, interesting.
And this happens before,
well before.
before
he
Krusty
started
gets
to be
busted. Where
illiterate.
he
Yeah.
can't. Yep. So,
Interesting.
ha.
Take that, episode.
Yes, I think I've won a free burger.
Just keep that scratch card.
Meat flavored sandwich, if you will.
No, my apologies. I've won a free meat-flavored sandwich.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is going to be a big one. Let's talk about the heart of the episode.
Just that whole ending. I mean, I'm not crying, you're crying.
I never really appreciated before tonight of the 1, 2, 3 introduce, reminder, and payoff of
Yeah,
Bart's.
no one calling Homer daddy.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
neither did I. I did the same thing.
Yeah, where Bart does it to spite him at clearly a young age. Lisa does it because she's incidentally bonded with Bart throughout this whole thing. And then for it to be Maggie's first word, like, oh my God.
Yep. Now that I've learned setup, reminder, and payoff, it gets me even more.
Yeah.
It is such a good setup. It's golden. And as we have just been discussing, the single word uttered by Maggie in this episode was actually voiced by freaking Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah. And
Just because.
why not?
Yeah.
All right.
She probably charges by the word.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They were going to have her play a young Lisa, but...
By the syllable.
By the syllable.
So there's a few conflicting reports from the Simpsons staff themselves about how this
Oh, yeah.
all happened in the recording studio, but the common story is that Elizabeth Taylor wasn't nailing the take. And the problem is, when she said daddy,
It was
it was sounding a little too sexual,
a
according
little
to
too
them.
breathy.
Yeah, because she was doing it in an Elizabeth Taylor way. Daddy.
Daddy.
So apparently, yeah, they made her do somewhere between 20 and 30 takes. There's conflicting reports of her saying "fuck you" at some point.
That's a different
That
episode.
should be in the outtakes.
Yeah. Matt Groening sort of told the story on one of the late night shows and sort of said it in a way that, you know, she said "fuck you," stormed out. They had to coax her back in, but he later retracted that same
Interesting.
story in an audio commentary and said, "Oh, I was just sort of saying that, you know, for a story, but it was more like she was saying "fuck you" in jest," because they were like, "Miss Taylor, this sounds a little like sexy. Can you just like be
Now remember,
not
you're
sexy?"
a baby. This is your first word to your father. Maybe lower the sexiness by 100%.
But I think the take they used was fucking perfect.
It's cute.
Mm.
So cute.
Yep. But even then, just Homer's surprisingly wise words as he walks up to bed of just the sooner kids talk, the sooner they talk back.
Right.
I'll hope you never say a word. He's like, oh, he loves you anyway.
And just with Bart and Lisa's dynamic, I'm actually getting a lot of reminders of my niece and nephew right now. Like, because, and especially it's the same sort of age bracket as well. The older nephew who got pretty jealous of the new thing coming round, and just like the bond that they have, even though it's at best a tenuous relationship.
Yep.
Totally.
No, I remember when my eldest nephew met the younger one for the first time. That was the cutest goddamn shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is your brother, and he kind of giggled and laughed, and he understood. And it was like, well, that's the cutest thing I'll ever see ever. Just everyone else can go away now. That's it. That's going to be well done, nephews. You've ruined cute.
Yeah.
So cute moments.
Mhm.
I gotta say. Well, firstly, Lisa saying Bart
Yeah.
as her first word.
Especially when he's right about to run away.
Yeah, yeah. Lisa in the mailbox, covered in stamps. But what actually takes the cake for me is Lisa in the crib with the big kiss mark on her face. And she's just got one eye closed and her
Yeah.
little arms are flailing around, covered in lipstick.
Yeah.
Like that expression of, I don't know what's wrong, but it's
Right.
something.
Well, actually, this is an interesting contrast where, yeah, Patty and Selma, she's now covered in lipstick
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
smell like cigarettes. And, like, whereas all the Bart stuff, she's just been having fun.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
She's never upset or confused or anything. She's just like, oh, brother gave me a haircut, mad.
He's just poking stamps on my face and shoving me in a box. Yay.
We found your daughter pushed through our doggy door.
He never gets his TV tray back.
And we never will again.
That's right.
So any other heart moments you want to mention?
I mean, she did say burlap.
Fuck, I've quoted that so many
Yeah,
times
just when
throughout the
someone
years.
burps, like, burlap.
Yeah. I think Danny even tries to say burlap when he burps as well. Oh, yeah, there's going to be twice as much love in the house.
We're going to start doing it in the mornings.
No. Oh. Oh, wonderful. It is actually nice seeing what life was like for Homer, Bart, and
Yeah.
Marge.
Yeah.
Brief little part in West Springfield, whatever it was.
Yeah,
Little
yeah.
Springfield, I don't know.
Yeah, where the brief moment where Springfield was overcrowded New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to play stickball?
Yeah, come on. I did like they then have like Homer's walking down the street singing "Girls Just Want to Have Fun," and then they have like a heavily synth, almost like chiptune version of it.
The version of
Almost, yeah.
Cindy Lauper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's gold. It's like a Muzak
yeah,
version.
it's a lot of fun. It's just the family out, having some frosty chocolate milkshakes.
Oh, yeah.
And
What's...
Homer has more hair.
Yeah.
He hasn't even got the bald spot yet.
No.
Sorry, and they
gold.
got the cry who's like, "Chipwich, get your chipwich." It's just like a cookie ice cream sandwich.
Yeah. Because I think they're trying to like portray it as old-timey New
Yeah,
York
yeah,
as well,
exactly.
but
No,
it's
I
like
love
it's
that.
still the
in
80s.
so many episodes, though.
That crier guy.
I
who's
love
always-
it.
Yeah.
Babies, who wants a babies?
I see you know babies. Yeah. Whereas I gotta say, if there was a guy walking down the street selling virtually anything with that cadence of voice,
Yeah.
I'd probably buy it.
Totally.
Palm Pilots.
Stolen watches, get your stolen watches. I'm like, 2, please.
Even Kalash.
Crab galage. Yes. God, how endearing does that sound?
Mountain Dew.
Crab juice.
Juice.
It's just a beautiful serenade.
But yeah, in that little montage as well, like the cute little Homer and Bart eating spaghetti the same.
Oh,
See where he
yes.
gets it from.
Yeah.
And I love when they're playing Got Your Nose.
What?
Bye-bye, keys. Bart, you must never, ever do that. Beep.
So gold.
Oh, what a little shit. I love
He
it.
got booped before anyone even knew what boop was.
Well, they developed the term boop, and it was just beep.
Totally. It was
Yeah.
just beep.
The Simpsons have been good for that. They introduced meh to the world, and
Meh. And also,
oh, fantastic. So ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
You know it did.
Yeah. I mean, it's early enough that the characters are like well established, so doing these flashback episodes is actually kind of a risky move because you're trying to establish new canon in the already established thing.
Yeah, to take them out of the familiar setting to basically what's a parody setting of their old New York, but
Yeah.
have it be still work really well and be so funny.
Yeah, well, because at this point we've done a flashback episode or two, maybe, with Homer and Marge's relationship pre-kids.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing I wanted to note. They're driving Homer's old car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the one before he sells it to pay for... Actually, no, he sells it that one.
With the one with the chain steering wheel?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But he sells that to pay for Bart's birth.
Or did he end up selling it? Did he make enough money at
He
the
put a
Gulp and
for
Blow?
sale sign on it. I don't know if he sold it, though.
Interesting.
Questions we have.
But anyway, the characters feel like themselves.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
this is like encyclopedic as far as what is The Simpsons, what was early Simpsons all about?
yeah.
This is what, season 4?
Yeah,
Yeah, so 4 years young.
Yeah.
Literally just finding the feet.
absolutely. Yeah, I still can't get over Bart and Lisa's relationship in this one. Yeah, because clearly loving each other, but still getting in petty fights about who was sitting on the
Who
floor.
wrote on the
Bart,
rug.
Bart did write his name
He
right
did.
there. There's no question. She's all like, I don't see your name on it. It's like, really? How?
But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
Yes.
Yes, I would.
Absolutely, I'd watch
Ad
this again.
infinitum.
You know, if we're going to watch it again, we'd probably put it in a playlist. What playlist does this go in?
References to Cyndi Lauper.
Sure. Just like when she's singing at the baseball game.
Yep.
America the brave, the brave.
I'm a brave.
Yeah, so flashback episodes is a no-brainer.
Them feels.
Yep, them feels episodes.
Any episode where transparent faces of people waft around someone and say things repeatedly. I don't
Yep.
know what the term for that is.
Because was it like a trope?
Yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah.
It was just vapor lock.
Why am I not remembering any right now? Hello, Joe. I'm only remembering this one.
All I can think is the time it doesn't happen when Homer's in the back seat of Marge's car going, "You mean I'm going to be a daddy? I hope we stay together forever.
Yep.
Forever." Oh, there's one. I call the big one Bitey.
Ah,
yes.
Is there a chance the track could bend?
Ogdenville, New Haven, and so on.
Yep. BT, what would you change?
Oh, man. Again, I don't want to change anything. The only thing you could maybe change, if you absolutely had to, is maybe update references, but you can't fault an episode for having old references. So, no, I don't want to change anything. This is a phenomenal episode.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing where Simpsons going on so long, it's the That 90s Show effect, where because it still takes
Because
place.
it very clearly says 1983 and then later on 1984.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
that's not a fault of this episode.
No, exactly. I think maybe the only thing is have a little bit more of Lisa trying to get Bart's attention because she thinks he hung the moon or whatever.
Mm.
But I think they get that through, like you're saying, when she's getting pushed in the mailbox and it's just like smiling and happy. And it's like she thinks it's a fun game. She doesn't realize she's being tried to be sent away.
Yeah.
So maybe a quick little scene where, I don't know, she's just following him around or something.
Yeah. But yeah, it is totally that thing. And what I love about that episode of Futurama where Bender adopts all the kids, he's clearly being negligent and feeding them blended up cats, but they're always having fun.
Yeah.
Our daddy's a giant toy. How about you, MJ? Is there anything you'd like to change about this episode?
I don't know. I kind of want to punch Rod and Todd in the face. But they're so perfect.
They're so perfectly annoying. It's like, you're not doing anything wrong,
You're
but
funny.
I got the joy down
They're
in my heart.
so well written. I would have liked to have seen more. There you go.
Yeah?
Yeah.
True. We just see Grandma Flanders.
She's- I swear she is a dumbed down version of the crazy cat lady.
Possibly.
Putting it out there.
Conspiracy. She is Eleanor Abernathy.
Yeah. Like a cousin or something.
Definitely.
And if the devil doesn't like it, he can sit on attack. Ouch! Wonderful. Yeah, I don't want to change a fucking thing. I had an amazing time with this episode. All right, we're here. BT, any other notes?
Yep, couple. Get bent. What? Mr. Rogers says it all the time.
No, he doesn't.
My final one is, I am so great. I am so great. Everybody loves me. I am so great. Quiet, 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 quiet.
I don't have something steel to bang. All I had was this bell, but that goes...
Yeah.
That sound.
I'd say it's a bell. You have to work to not make it make sound.
And how about you, MJ? Any other notes?
Just more on the Everybody Loves Me, I Am So Great song. You guys seen that meme? Where literally my two moods, and it's Bart singing that and then curled up on his bed
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the fetal position. Yeah. My two moods.
Oh, that's so relatable.
Yep.
Time for my final notes. Yeah, I like that Lisa's trying to get Maggie to say beep-up. Beep-up. Did we mention the Homer's better say something smart quick?
Oh, no, we didn't.
Takes one to know one.
Swish.
Oh, and I liked the cutback from the ad break. Maggie, if you say something, I'll give you a cookie.
She
All right,
beat
you
him
win.
7 times. She doesn't even have teeth.
And Homer using reverse psychology as well. Let's leave the baby with his little crib. Where's the beef? I didn't know this until today. This was apparently,
Yeah, commercial.
for Wendy's, which is a very different chain in America than
Yep.
it is here.
Yep.
And
It's a burger chain, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
they make square burgers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Isn't... I've already heard discussions about this as to whether or not a square burger is actually a sandwich.
Whereas for American listeners, here a Wendy's is more like a Tasty Freeze.
So yeah, they have ice cream and hot dogs, and I saw recently that they're on Uber Eats, and
Why?
there's just some things that I see on Uber Eats, and I'm like, oh my god, that's depressing.
Yeah.
Like BP, the service station, are on Uber Eats now.
Wow.
You can get a BP sausage roll and a bag of
That's-
chips.
Oh, that hurts my brain. Because you go to a servo when everything else is shut and you have to.
Yeah.
You don't go,
Yeah, in prime hours.
Dear
yeah,
Lord.
when you're already theoretically home.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's
Uber Eats.
conceptually broken.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's like putting new spare tires on your car. Like, it doesn't make sense. You do it out of desperation. You don't.
yeah. Oh, you people are pigs. I'm going to spit in every 50th burger.
I do really love that contrast to the
Those
first Krusty who's like, yeah, if we win a gold medal, you get a free one. Then later just smoking and like, you filthy goddamn animals.
And then Homer, that's a Simpsons broke my brain moment. I like those odds.
Yep.
Oh, and forgot to mention, classic Hibbert playlist. I love whenever they do a flashback to Hibbert, he's always got a different hairstyle.
Yep.
He's rocking
It's
some
true.
pretty neat cornrows in this one.
Yeah, with the beads on the
Beaded
end.
dreads, yeah.
Yep.
Freaking gold.
And I love Lisa's, among her first words was David Hasselhoff.
Dave.
And then she laughs at it because Hasselhoff is a funny word. So simple and elegant.
Yeah, who's weirdly doing the rounds in Australia at the moment. He's like a mascot for ANZ for some fucking reason.
Why?
It's about that time where Hasselhoff needs to re-emerge
I guess.
and then go back to
Well,
his...
like every 9 years, Hasselhoff comes from his crypt.
You know, sometimes it's just, you know, he's doing an ad campaign. Sometimes it's a cameo in the latest Baywatch remake. You know,
At least that makes sense.
yeah,
Why is it getting a bank gig?
yeah. Well, I mean, at least it's not him on the floor of a restaurant eating a burger while his daughter cries.
That was his greatest role, viewed by millions.
I hear he was method acting.
Damn straight.
It's time to rank this thing. MJ, you're first.
Gold standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go a step above that and say Cubic Zirconia. I think this one may not be like one of my biggest laughs per minute episodes, but holy fuck, I think this is so essential to the Simpsons experience that, yeah, top ranks for me. Cubic Zirconia. BT, where are you falling?
Yeah, I was sitting on a gold up until the clown bed, and I'm like, no, that kicks it absolutely the classic territory. Put it in a Cubic Zirconia because that is just better than the best. Heavily quotable, so many bits that have ruined my brain. The story is so packed and yet apparently short for an episode, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like nothing is rushed. It all gets time to breathe and settle in, and yeah, it's a great episode.
All right, cool. Well, averaging out, that'll be a dull Cubic Zirconia. This will be joining other such dull Cubic Zirconias from Season 4 as Treehouse of Horror 3, so that's like King Homer and the Zombies one. We did it with Jimmy. Fuck, what was the other segment? I'm trying to remember, and all I'm thinking of is I was strolling through the gas one day.
King Homer? No, it wasn't that one. Oh, Clown Without Pity, then.
Oh, yeah. Someone set this doll to evil. I Love Lisa, where Ralph loves Lisa. And Duffless, where Homer quits beer for 30 days. And also, Lisa tries to work out if Bart is dumber than a hamster. All right, cool. Well, yeah, that about does it for the Simpsons Index for this week. But before we get out of here, we just quickly like to talk about things that we're into lately. Books, TV, music, movies, aircrafts, museums, pedestal fans. Sorry, I just got to stop looking at shit around here. BT, what are you into lately?
Man, not really had too much to recommend. I mean, I like Stranger Things Season 3. Some people haven't. These people are communists. But, you know about that. You didn't need me to recommend that. I started watching Umbrella Academy. I might hate watch to the end because hate watch is not the right term. Spite watch. Because I don't like it, but I want to explain why I don't like it, and I need to know the whole thing to explain that.
Fair enough.
So my recommendation is noodles. Whether you get them from the Italian kind or the Asian kind, noodles. They're good.
All right, solid. Well, Stranger Things Season 3 is a pretty solid recommendation. I'd throw my recommend behind that.
People know about that, though.
Yeah. How about you, MJ? What are you into lately?
I'm actually going to second Stranger Things. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I freaking cried at the end.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Like a big girl.
Yeah, that freaking We Can Be Heroes by Peter Gabriel
know,
version.
right?
Oh, fuck me.
Worst. Living Without Crazy Housemates.
Yeah?
Highly recommend it. It's fucking tops.
Yeah.
Esquilax breeding. Also, functional proteins and genes.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can't get enough tyrosine.
Wow.
They sell them at Jeans West. Or
Gotta make my references hipper.
And what I've been into lately, I've just been fucking hooking into a lot of Super Mario Maker 2. I was recently on a holiday with my niece and nephew, and leading up to that, like, I made them a bunch of super easy levels because I
Good
love...
guy uncle, yeah.
Yeah. Because I love showing them video games and stuff, but the thing that they struggle with is, like, the reaction times to enemies coming towards them. Like, they love, like, jumping around and, like,
The
doing...
platforming stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, they find the whole confrontation with something that's trying to hurt you thing a bit difficult and upsetting. So, like, just making a bunch of easy levels where, like, yeah, my niece can be the cat and run around in pipes, and my nephew was really enjoying the little car that you can do in a few levels. And yeah, for myself, it's like, it's a fucking amazing game. It's just such an amazing suite of tools. And, like, the community outpouring of levels so far has been ridiculous. There is a noticeable higher quality than with the original Super Mario Maker for the Wii U. Nintendo's upped the game with their filtering process, so... Again, much like Stranger Things Season 3, if you've got a fucking Nintendo Switch, you're probably already on it. But, if you're not and you're on the fence, buy a Switch. Don't get a fucking Switch Lite. What the fuck are they even doing that for?
I did think that.
Yeah. Who is, like, I guess little kids, but also why? it's not a switch if you can't switch any.
Yeah. Hey,
baffling.
here's a product that does less, fella. How'd you like that?
Yeah, boggles the mind.
It costs less, but still.
Yeah, but anyway,
I know.
that's another rant for my tight five. But anyway, so yeah, that's it for this episode. And yeah, next week, going to do a bit of hype for the next podcast because we have a special guest joining us from merry old England, Brian from Launching the Pilot, which is a podcast that looks exclusively at pilot episodes of shows. We're doing the index routine with him, but the classic episode we're finally doing it. We're doing the pilot episode of The Simpsons.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, can't wait for that one.
I know. Bright and early tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, we've already recorded the first 2 segments, and yeah, tomorrow we're getting up early to record the last one. So yeah, very hyped for that. I think we're good. Yep. Let's get out up here. MJ, thank you very much for joining us for the show.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen.
Can't wait to have you back soon. And BT, thank you for...
living here.
Yeah.
Ahoy.
And now it's time to chain you back up and get your bucket of fish heads, but
Roly-poly fish heads?
eat them up, yum. And I've been your host, Elliot J. O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house!
Daddy.
Oh, God.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter and Instagram. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
Ultimately, though, did this feel like an episode? I didn't like that episode.
Take 2.
But yeah, so they knew Moleman because
That's okay.
he'd slept with
Used
the
to
old
have
lady
just
Ulrich.
Filthy, ugly sex with old lady Ulrich.
It was probably beautiful when they were young.
They were never young.
It's the perfect theme song for this show. Just, bouncy off the walls and that augmented fifth.
Definitely. Nerd.
BT, the question.
All right, final question we like to pitch to new guests is, if you could have a sandwich named after you, what would be on that sandwich? Or if that's too difficult, just what is the best sandwich?
Motherfucking Chipwich.
Yeah. So other than
Damn.
chips and bread,
The
what
best
is on
sandwich.
that?
Anything where the turkey isn't dry.
That's true. It's pretty good.
What's on a... Oh, wait. Chipwich, right.
Is that okay? Is that a sandwich with chips, or is that the chocolate chip cookie with ice cream sandwich?
Well, see, I'm gonna go the Australian angle here. It's crisps on a sandwich, bro.
Yeah, it's good.
That's what it is. But they've got to be chicken flavor.
Aha.
Classic
Interesting.
chicken flavor,
Controversial.
crispy.
Anything else on there?
No,
Nope, just the chips. All right.
just the chips and a bit of butter.
I was about to say you want to. Otherwise, it's going to get dry. Yeah.
Don't want to waste a monkey paw wish on that.
No, absolutely not.
It's such a waste.